Hello, students. Today we are going to start chapter 2, Natural Resources, Land and Soil. So, first chapter we did of resources, and second chapter is about natural resources, land and soil. You know, in course of your exploration of the earth's physical features, and if we are exploring the earth's environment in previous 2 years, we have already learned that earth has basic qualities to support life. This you did already, that earth is having so much physical features, like somewhere mountains are there, somewhere plateaus, somewhere plains are there. So these all are the basic qualities of the earth to support life on it. It provides us, means the humans, the means of our survival, opportunity for our development. If I introduce the concept of a resource, then you must be aware about the presence and importance of various natural resources on the earth's surface. We did in the previous chapter what are the natural resources available to us, how we are utilizing it. You already know that earth's major domains are hydrosphere, 71% of earth's surface it is covering, and lithosphere is covering 29%. This is percent sign, 29%. All parts of this small percentage are not habitable, means all these are small percentages and these are not habitable. Like your lithosphere, it is the solid upper crust of the earth along with the soil. That part is termed as land. That part is termed as land because the lithosphere is of solid upper crust of the earth along with the soil. So lithosphere is of 29%. These are your mountains, plateaus, plains. Mountains are for scenic beauty, forest tableland are your plateaus, food bowls are your plains. Now, we are talking about land. Land is a natural resource most important to man and human beings, living beings. It is the base for natural vegetation. It serves as a habitat for life and means wildlife animals. If I say these are the homes of wildlife animals, the land where they are living. Land supports economic activities. All the economic activities are done on land, like agriculture, your pastoral farming, which provide us food and materials for our clothing. Your mining, when minerals are taken out from earth crust. Industries, they all are connected with land. We extract the minerals out of the land and build industries with the products from the land only. We build our shelter, our houses on land with the material we obtain from earth. So we are utilizing land with proper care and planning. We should utilize the land. Various landforms and their utilization. Utilization of land is determined by the physical factors, just like I told you earlier also, like somewhere their relief features, their soil, their supporting climate. So the utilization of land, when you are utilizing the land, it depends upon the physical feature, what kind of soil is there, what kind of climate is there, what type of relief feature is there. So human factors like population pressure, density, quality, their cultural and technical ability, this all determine the land utilization, how we are utilizing the land. We are having three main landforms: mountains, plateaus and plains. I told you, saw means you have seen the pic also, I've shown you. So mountains, plateaus and plains are your major landforms. They influence the life. These relief features, they influence the life and economic activities of a man. If I talk about the mountain area, okay, there are difficult terrains. Plateaus are uneven surface. Desert, swampy lands that make our livelihood difficult. It is difficult for humans to survive over such places. But their land usage is limited and hence they are sparsely populated regions. Wherever in the mountains difficult terrains are there, uneven plateau surface are there, desert and swampy lands are there, the humans will not live there. More humans will not live there. Less population will be there. Sparsely populated regions these are. On the other hand, broad low-lying plains drained by rivers, means where rivers flows like Indo-Gangetic plains, they provide an opportunity for agriculture and settlement. People wants to live over such region that economic activity like agriculture can be done. And these are densely populated areas where the population is much more. Land uses. Different patterns of land uses develop in different parts of the world. I told you the land area of any country may be put to different use. Like you can build dam on the land, you can build your house, you can build factory, you can build an industry. So it depends upon the relief feature. Agriculture you can do. So land is used for various purposes. Depending on the quality, the land may be productive and involved the economic activities. Okay, it depends upon the quality. It is fertile or not fertile, it is productive or not. These the land productivity, it influences the different economic activities. The land is productive or not. If a land is productive, then we can do different economic activities. If the land is unproductive, it may be a wasteland or barren land where we are doing nothing, no agricultural activity is being done. So the pattern of land utilization is termed as land usage. See, forests are 22.75%. Tree crops and groves are 1.10%. Non-agricultural use is 7.74%. Pasture grazing land is 3.45%. Barren and wasteland is 6.29%. Cultivable wasteland is 4.41%. Fallow land is 10.85%. And net sown area is 43.41%. So this is a pie chart also. It is showing you different land usage. So land utilization in India, if I talk about as compared to India, other countries like Japan, Brazil, they have much larger percentage of areas covering under the forest. Okay, so land usage in any area is determined by the location and accessibility of that area, the infrastructure of that area, water availability, soil, the relief feature, nature of the rocks, slopes of the land, cultural and technical development over that area. So, land utilization of an area generally depends upon these six factors. First factor is location and accessibility. Second is relief, nature of rocks and slope of land. Third is the type of soil which is present there. Fourth is water availability. Fifth is the technical and cultural development, needs of the people, and infrastructure of that area. This we have done in the previous topic. Now, land utilization in India I am talking about. Countries like Japan and Brazil, 67% area is covered under forest of Japan and 66% of Brazil is covered under the forest. They are the forest cover. India has the largest percentage of its land under agricultural use. We are also having land, but we are using it mostly for the purpose of agriculture. And means with India only, it is followed by France is also using, UK, USA, they are also using the land for agricultural purpose. Only 3.45% of India land is under pastures for rearing livestock, means where animals are kept and they are cared for their meat, milk and other things. Australia has 56% of land under pasture and accounting the pastoral trade also. If I talk about Canada, 52% of the land is put to non-agricultural use. They are using it for non-agricultural activities. See, we have done different countries above. So different countries are using land for different economic development, different economic activities. So if a land is owned by an individual, it is private land. Where land used by community or for common use for the collection of fodder, fruits, nuts, medicinal herbs, that is community land. When community is using community land and when an individual is using, then it is individual land, means private land. Vast changes in land use patterns, the cultural activity in the society. There is a lot of change in the land pattern due to the cultural change in the society. Like agriculture expanded, our constructional activities also means they have expanded. So major threats are there to the environment. What is the threat? Means danger to the environment. First is your land degradation. Your land is degraded. Degraded means it is unfit for cultivation. Landslides are there. Mostly in the hilly area, landslides occurs. Soil erosion is there. Removal of the top layer of the soil, which is the fertile one. Desertification. Okay, what is desertification? Desertification is a type of land degradation in the dryland area where the productivity of the land is lost due to the natural process or by any human activity. Conservation of land resources. The total land area of any country is fixed. The population is increasing, so the demand is also increasing on land. Means the pressure is being put on the land because everything we get from the land. So total land area is fixed, population is increasing, so demand is also increasing, and the pressure is put on the land. What man is doing? He is clearing forest to acquire the land for agriculture. He's cutting the forest for the agriculture. With cultural and social change, the land use pattern underwent many changes. Man encroached every possible scrap of land in variable one. So what here man is doing? Man is encroaching every possible scrap of land, means he is interfering or he is using every possible scrap of land in variable one. The urban areas, it becomes crowded with sprawling houses complex. You can see in urban areas, you see houses everywhere, commercial spaces, industries everywhere, changing infrastructures. So you see the crowded places. Yeah, like you go to Delhi, you see sprawling house complexes, commercial spaces, industries, changing infrastructure. So your natural landscape is also changing because pressure is there on the land, and because of the pressure the quality of the land is degrading day by day. Deforestation leads to desertification. I told you, the fertility of the soil when it is lost. Okay, it is also a kind of a land degradation. Soil erosion, upper layer of the soil is being removal of the top layer of the soil by wind, water, air, or any other human activities. And landslides. Landslide is the movement of big rock, earth down a slope. That is a landslide. Landslide is a movement of a mass of a rock which is being earth down a slope due to the shaking. We have to adopt scientific methods to get maximum benefit from land. Scientific methods to be adopted. At the same time, we should conserve these valuable resources to maintain its quality for present and future generation. In the previous chapter also we did that man should fulfill present needs by keeping in mind the needs of the future generation. So likewise, we have to conserve the valuable resources to maintain the quality of the present and something for the future generation. Resources are very important for sustenance, means survival or development, I can say. We are over exploiting the resources, overusing the resources. Unplanned we are using. Because of unplanning, wastage of resources are there. So these are leading to depletion. Day by day, depletion is there, degradation is there of the land. Our conservation of resources means using the resources efficiently. Efficiently means we should not harm the environment. We should not harm the future prospects by exploiting the environment. Conservation should be judicious. Judicious means proper utilization of the resources, that there are no wastage of the resources. Planned use. Planned is this only, that there should no harm to the environment, no wastage should be there, and we are utilizing the resources to the best possible way we can. We can do it by afforestation, planting more and more trees, land reclamation. Reclamation is the process of claiming something back. Regulate uses of chemical pesticides and fertilizers. checks on overgrazing by animals, and animal means animals should not be taken to same land for grazing again and again. Okay, it should be checked. Now if I talk about soil, soil is one of the most valuable resource. It is an abiotic resource and renewable one also. It can be renewed with time. It determines the quality of land. It forms the basic agriculture only. Agriculture activity depends upon the soil only. It provides support, nourishment to the plants. In turn, animals and humans they get their food from the plants. The thin topmost layer of the earth crust is made up of very fine rock particles and organic matter that we called soil. So, the upper layer, the thin topmost layer of earth crust, is made up of fine rock particles and organic matter, and we call them soil. It is an unconsolidated materials of the earth surface, okay, and it is formed by breaking down or weathering of the rocks. Weathering is a process generally breaking down of big rocks into the smaller pieces. It is a phenomena. By the action of plants, animals, human activity, the rocks are being broke down due to erosion activities. It contains humus and decayed plants and animal remains, as well as living organisms, water, and air. Okay, remains matlab they are having remains of plants and animals, as well as the living organisms, water, and air. So, if I tell you the definition, it is a thin topmost layer of earth crust that is made up of very fine rock particles and organic matter that we call the resource. And soil is a layer that contains unconsolidated materials at the earth's surface. What is the meaning of the word unconsolidated? Unconsolidated means it is not stratified at all. Okay, it means it consists of particles that do not stick together, they are being separated. So till here we will do, this is our first part. Next part we'll do layers of the soil. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.